everyone! Welcome back to Mr. Easy English, the place where English becomes simple, natural, and part of your daily life. I'm Anna.
And I'm Mark. And today we've got another super useful episode for you guys. One of the most important things in English, something that everyone needs, is talking about your work routine.
Exactly. Whether you have a job, a part-time gig, a morning schedule, or even if you're still a student, you always need to talk about your daily routine. People ask you, how's work? What time do you start? What's your day like?
And today, we're going to teach you how real native speakers describe their day, not the boring textbook style. We're talking about real-life English, the way people actually talk at work, during breaks, in meetings, and even after work.
And the best part? Just like always, you don't need to memorize anything. You don't need to pause the video. You don't need to write anything down. All you have to do is listen.
Yeah, just listen. Your brain will slowly start recognizing natural sentences and patterns by itself. That's how thousands of people learn with this channel.
So, if you're ready to improve your English while doing your workout, walking, cleaning your room, or even relaxing on your bed, stay with us.
And hey, before we jump in, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and check out the older episodes. We post long, natural podcasts all the time, and your support helps us create even more.
All right, let's get into today's topic, work routine. Mark, let's start with the basic question people always ask. So, what's your typical day like?
All right, so let's talk about a real work routine. You know, not the boring, I wake up, I go to work thing. I mean, how people actually describe their day when they talk naturally.
Yeah, like when someone asks, what's your routine? They're not asking for a list. They're asking for a picture of your day. So let's break it down from morning to night.
Exactly. So let's start with mornings. Most people say something like, I usually wake up around 7, or I get up pretty early on weekdays.
And then you can add details to sound more natural. First thing I do is check my phone. I make a quick breakfast. I grab a coffee on the way.
Or even, I'm not a morning person, so I take a while to fully wake up.
That one is very common. And then after that, people usually talk about getting ready. I take a shower, I get dressed, I pack my bag.
And then comes the commute, the way you get to work. This part is super useful. I take the bus to work. I drive to the office. My commute takes about 20 minutes.
You can also say, traffic is usually terrible in the morning, or sometimes I listen to podcasts during my commute.
Podcasts like this one, because honestly, that's the best way to learn English if you're busy.
Exactly. And once you get to work, you can say, I usually get to work around 9. The first thing I do is check my emails. I like to plan my day before I start.
These are phrases every native speaker uses. Nobody says, first I arrive at my workplace. That sounds robotic. Real English is simple.
And then you talk about what you actually do at work. You don't need complicated sentences. Things like, I have a few meetings in the morning. I work on projects with my team. I answer phone calls. I help customers. I prepare documents. I manage orders. I organize schedules.
And if you have a more active job, you can say, I'm on my feet most of the day. I move around a lot. I help people face to face. I deal with customers all day long.
Or if your job is quiet, it's pretty calm most days. I work in a small office. I usually work independently.
Then comes lunchtime. Native speakers usually say, I grab lunch around 12. I eat with my coworkers. I usually bring something from home. Sometimes I just pick up something quick.
And small talk at lunch is a big part of work life. People talk about shows, sports, weekend plans, literally anything.
Yeah, and after lunch, the afternoon usually feels slower. You can say, afternoons are usually quieter. I try to finish the rest of my tasks. I usually get more done after lunch. Or, I get tired in the afternoon, so I grab another coffee.
That one is very real. Everyone grabs a second coffee in the afternoon.
Then, when it comes to finishing work, people usually say, I finish around 5. I wrap things up at the end of the day. I head home around sunset.
And after work, you can talk about your evening routine. I go to the gym after work. I like to cook dinner when I get home. I relax and watch something. I spend time with my family. I take a walk in the evening.
Or, the most natural one, after work, I just try to chill.
Same. Most people just want to relax after a long day.
And then before bed, you can say, I get ready for bed around 11. I try to sleep by midnight. I need at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
So, when someone asks, what's your work routine like? You don't need to talk like a robot. Just describe your day with small, simple pieces like we just did.
Exactly. Short sentences, natural phrases, daily actions. That's all real English is.
And the more you listen to long podcasts like this, the easier it becomes to describe your own day with confidence.
Your brain literally starts copying the rhythm automatically.
That's why listening is so powerful. No studying needed, no grammar required, just exposure.
And that's what Mr. Easy English is all about, helping you learn English simply by listening.
So let's get into it more deeply. When we talk about a work routine, we're not only talking about what time you start working, but about the entire rhythm of your day, how you manage energy, how you stay focused, and even how you deal with stress during long hours. And honestly, these small habits you build every day can completely change the way you feel and perform.
Exactly. And you know what's funny? Most people think a work routine is just wake up, go to work, come back home, but it's way more than that. It's the small details that make the biggest difference, like what you do in the first 10 minutes after waking up, or how you organize your tasks, or even how you talk to yourself mentally throughout the day. These things shape your productivity more than anything.
True.
And something a lot of English learners forget is that your work routine is also one of the easiest things to talk about in daily conversations. Whether you're meeting new people, doing small talk, or even describing your lifestyle, talking about your routine is essential. And with today's episode, you'll not only learn how to talk about it, but also actually improve your real routine.
And don't forget, just by listening, you're already training your ears, you're training your brain to understand natural English, real conversations, real phrasing, real rhythm. That's the beautiful part of this podcast. You don't need books, you don't need notes, you don't need anything complicated. You just listen, relax, and your English grows little by little without you even noticing.
Now, let's go deeper into the practical side. For example, when someone asks you, what's your work routine like? You can talk about many things. You can mention your morning habits, your commute, how you start your tasks, your breaks, your lunchtime, your productivity tricks, and how you finish your day. And the more details you give, the more natural you sound.
Absolutely. And speaking of details, let's break down some useful phrases people can use right away. Things like, I usually start my day with, I try to keep my mornings simple, I break my tasks into small steps, I take short breaks to stay focused, I end my day by planning for tomorrow.
And these phrases don't just help you talk, they help you live better. Because when you speak about your routine clearly, you start thinking about your routine clearly too. It's like a double benefit. Your English improves and your life improves with it.
You know, a lot of people struggle with consistency. They wake up at different times, they don't know what to do first, they procrastinate, and then at the end of the day, they feel tired and unproductive. But having a simple, flexible routine can fix all of that.
Exactly. And one of the easiest parts of your routine to talk about and to improve is your morning workflow. For example, you can say, I check my emails first. I make a to-do list. I focus on my most important task in the morning. These simple sentences help you sound natural and organized.
And if you work outside the house, you can talk about commuting too. Like, I take the bus to work. It usually takes me 20 minutes. I listen to music or podcasts on the way. These are everyday expressions that make conversations smoother.
And honestly, that's why this episode is so useful, because no matter where you live, no matter what job you have, you always have some kind of routine. And being able to describe it clearly is one of the best things you can learn, especially for speaking tests, interviews, or just daily communication.
Speaking of interviews, explaining your routine confidently can make you sound disciplined and reliable. Employers love that. Imagine answering questions with calm, fluent sentences. It shows maturity.
And again, remember, you're learning all this just by listening. No pressure, no boring grammar, no confusing rules. This is the whole philosophy of Mr. Easy English. You learn naturally, like a child learning their first language.
And trust me, if you keep listening daily, even while doing chores, walking, eating, or relaxing, your brain keeps absorbing the patterns of English automatically. That's the real magic. You don't even feel the effort.
All right, now let's dive even deeper. Another part of your work routine is how you take breaks.
So, as I was saying, breaks are actually one of the most underrated parts of a work routine. Most people feel guilty when they rest for a few minutes. But the truth is, short breaks actually increase your productivity. When your brain gets a moment to refresh, you come back sharper and more focused.
Exactly. It's like giving your brain a mini reset. And you can talk about this easily in English, too. For example, you can say, I take a short break every hour. I stretch a little during my break. I grab a coffee to recharge. These simple sentences show that you're organized and mindful of your energy.
And one thing I absolutely love is micro breaks. You know those quick 30-second pauses when you look away from the screen, take a breath, or just reset? They're so small, but they help so much.
Yes, and the beautiful thing is that you can naturally use these in small talk, too. Imagine someone asking, how do you stay productive? And you answer, I take micro breaks to avoid burnout. That sounds professional, confident, and natural.
Now, another key part of a work routine is task management. And trust me, this is a big one. Being able to talk about how you organize your tasks gives people such a clear picture of your personality and your workflow. You can say things like, I prioritize my tasks by importance. I work on the hardest tasks first. I make sure to finish what I start.
And when you say these phrases in English, you not only communicate clearly, you sound mature and responsible. These kinds of sentences are gold in interviews, workplace conversations, or even during casual chats with friends.
Now, another interesting part of a work routine is how you handle distractions. Because let's be honest, we all get distracted. Phone notifications, messages, social media, it's everywhere. But if you want to talk about it in English, you can say things like, I turn off notifications while working. I try to stay away from my phone. I put my phone on silent to focus.
And these sentences don't just help with English, they help with life. When you speak them out loud or hear them, you start adopting them naturally. It's like learning and improving at the same time.
And speaking of improving, let's not forget about ending your day. So many people misunderstand this part. They think the workday ends when they close their laptop, but that's not really true. the last 5 minutes of your day have a huge impact on tomorrow.
Absolutely. You can talk about this in English by saying, I finish my day by reviewing my tasks. I check what I completed. I prepare a simple plan for tomorrow.
And that one habit helps you feel less stressed the next morning. Because when you already know what you're going to do, you start the day with clarity instead of chaos.
And vocab-wise, this is such an easy topic for learners. You can use so many useful phrases like daily schedule, productivity habits, morning workflow, time management, work-life balance.
These phrases make your English sound advanced with almost zero effort.
And again, remember, you're learning all of this simply by listening. No studying, no memorizing, no worksheets. Your brain absorbs the rhythm, the expressions, the flow, and slowly you start speaking naturally without forcing anything.
And honestly, that's what makes this podcast special on our channel, Mr. Easy English. You can listen while cooking, walking, cleaning, working out, or even before sleeping. And the more you listen, the more you become fluent.
Because English isn't something you memorize, it's something you feel. And you learn to feel it by listening to real conversations like this.
Now, let's move to another important part of a work routine, the mindset you carry throughout the day. So, like I was saying, the mindset you carry through your workday affects everything. Your productivity, your energy, your focus, and even the way you talk to people. If you start the day stressed, the whole day feels heavy. But if you begin calm and clear, everything becomes easier.
Right. And you can express this mindset easily in English using simple phrases like, I try to stay positive during work. I focus on one task at a time. I remind myself to stay calm. These sentences show emotional awareness, and they're really common in real conversations, especially when coworkers check in with each other.
And something people don't talk about enough is how important relationships at work are. Your colleagues, your boss, your team, they shape your experience. You can talk about this in English by saying, I enjoy working with my team. My coworkers are supportive. I learn a lot from the people around me.
Yes, and even if you have problems at work, there are natural ways to express them. For example, I sometimes struggle with communication. I find time management challenging. I get overwhelmed when I have too many tasks. These kinds of sentences are extremely helpful, especially in workplace discussions or check-ins.
And let's not forget about meetings, a huge part of many people's work routines. Meetings can be stressful if you don't know how to talk about them, but the vocabulary is actually super simple. You can say, I have a meeting at 10. I need to present my ideas. I'm taking notes during the meeting. I'll follow up after the meeting.
And speaking of meetings, one of the things that makes you sound like a native speaker is how you describe your role. You can use phrases like, I'm responsible for, I'm in charge of, I handle, I manage. These expressions make you sound confident, professional, and clear.
Another important part of a work routine is staying organized. Everyone has a different method. Some people use apps, some use notebooks, some honestly just try to remember everything in their head.
Yeah, and in English, it's easy to talk about your method. For example, I use a planner to stay organized. I keep track of everything on my phone. I write down tasks so I don't forget. I organize my workspace before I start working.
And speaking of workspace, your environment really affects how you feel. When your desk is messy, your mind feels messy. But when your space is clean, you feel lighter.
So true. And it's also a great English topic. You can say, I like keeping my desk clean. I need a quiet environment to focus. I can't work when everything is messy. I try to keep my workspace simple.
And another part of a healthy work routine is movement. Sitting all day is terrible for your body and honestly, for your mood. Even small movements help. Stretching your shoulders, rolling your neck, walking for a minute.
Yeah, and in English, you can easily express this. I try to move every hour. I stretch my back during breaks. I take a short walk to stay energized.
And something else that's becoming more common is talking about mental health at work. People care about how you feel. And you can say things like, I try to reduce stress during the day. I take a moment to breathe when I feel pressure. I talk to my coworkers when I feel overwhelmed.
And honestly, I love how open people are becoming about this. It creates better communication and better work environments.
Now, another huge part of work routines is how you transition out of work. You know, that moment when you switch from work mode to life mode, because if you don't unplug, your brain never gets a break.
Yes, and you can describe this in English too. I turn off notifications after work. I leave my laptop closed for the rest of the night. I try not to think about work after hours.
And finally, one of the most important habits is celebrating small wins. People forget this. You don't need to finish huge projects to celebrate. Even completing a small task counts.
And talking about it is so helpful. I'm proud I finished everything today. I made good progress. I checked off all my tasks.
These phrases build confidence and help you speak naturally.
And remember, as you listen to conversations like this, your brain slowly learns how native speakers think, connect ideas, and express themselves. You're training your mind just by listening.
Exactly. No books, no stress, no memorizing, just listening and absorbing. And the more you listen, the more you become. Another part of a strong work routine is how you handle unexpected situations. Because no matter how organized you are, something always comes up. A sudden task, a message from your boss, a technical problem, or an urgent request. And the way you talk about these moments in English is actually really simple. You can say things like, I had an unexpected task today. My schedule changed suddenly. I had to handle something urgent. I needed to adjust my plan.
And those phrases are incredibly useful. They sound natural, and they're exactly the kind of things people say in workplaces every single day. And what's even nicer is that you can build conversations around them. For example, someone might ask, "How was your day?" And you can naturally answer, "It was a bit hectic. I had some unexpected tasks." See? Simple, but so realistic.
And that word, hectic, is a beautiful one. It means busy, stressful, a little chaotic. It's one of those words that instantly makes you sound more advanced, but it's super easy to use.
Totally. And speaking of stress, handling pressure is another key part of a work routine. People often talk about it in English, especially when describing their job. They say things like, I work well under pressure. I try to stay calm when things get intense. I focus on solutions instead of problems. I take things step by step.
And that last one, step by step, is extremely common. People use it all the time, especially during stressful weeks. It's such a helpful mindset, too.
Another thing that shapes your work routine is your energy levels. It's completely normal to have ups and downs during the day. Sometimes you start strong, then get tired after lunch. Sometimes you start slow, but get more productive later. And you can express all of this naturally in English. I feel most energetic in the morning. I'm more productive at night. I need a few minutes to get started. I feel tired after lunch.
And it's not just about talking. Listening to these sentences helps you understand how native speakers describe something as personal and simple as their energy.
And another essential part of the work routine is communication style. How you talk to your coworkers, write emails, or ask for help really affects everything. People usually say, I try to be clear and direct. I ask questions when I don't understand. I keep my emails simple. I check in with my team regularly.
And speaking of asking for help, it's such an important skill. Many people are scared to ask, but in English, it's very natural to say, could you help me with this? Can you explain this part to me? I'm not sure how to do this. Could you guide me? It sounds professional, polite, and confident.
Love that. And something else you'll hear native speakers say a lot is how they manage multitasking. It's such a big topic nowadays because jobs often require doing several things at once. And common phrases include, I'm juggling a few tasks right now. I'm working on multiple projects. I try not to multitask too much. I prefer focusing on one thing at a time.
And that word, juggling, is perfect. It's so visual. It literally means handling different tasks at the same time, and it's super natural in work conversations.
Another part of the routine that people often forget is motivation. Sometimes you're motivated, sometimes you're not. And that's normal. And you can talk about this so easily in English. Some days are harder than others. I try to stay motivated. I remind myself why I started. I take small steps when I feel unmotivated.
And that sentence, some days are harder than others, is one of the most common real-life expressions ever. Everyone uses it.
Now, something I really love to talk about is the balance between structure and flexibility. Because your routine shouldn't be too strict or too loose. You need a plan, but you also need room to breathe. In English, you'll hear people say, I try to stay flexible. I adjust my routine when needed. I don't stress when things change.
And when you use these expressions, people understand that you're adaptable, which is an amazing quality in the workplace. And remember, everything you're learning right now, all these natural expressions, all these patterns, all these real-life sentences, you're absorbing them simply by listening. You don't need vocabulary lists, you don't need grammar books, you don't need studying. You just listen and your brain slowly connects the pieces.
That's the beauty of it. You learn English the way you learned your first language, naturally, without pressure. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. If you listened all the way through, you've already taken a huge step toward improving your English. Remember, you don't need books, you don't need complicated lessons, you don't need to memorize anything. Just listening to long, natural conversations like this changes everything over time.
Exactly. Your brain absorbs real patterns, real expressions, real rhythm, the way people actually talk in everyday life. And the more you listen, the easier speaking becomes. It's not magic, it's just consistency.
And if you're new here, this is Mr. Easy English, the channel where we help you learn English simply by listening. We create long, natural podcasts, real conversations, daily topics, everyday English, all designed to help you improve without stress.
And don't forget, this channel has lots of previous episodes you can go back to. We have podcasts about daily life, shopping, work, motivation, real conversations, football, travel, everything you need to build real fluency.
And trust me, you don't have to do anything special. You can listen while walking, cooking, cleaning, working out, relaxing, or even before sleeping. Little by little, your English gets clearer, smoother, and more natural.
So before you go, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It helps the channel more than you think, and it tells us that you want more long episodes like this.
And feel free to leave a comment. Tell us what you want the next podcast to be about. Work, travel, relationships, daily problems, motivation. We read all the comments and build new episodes based on your ideas.
And of course, stay tuned. We have new videos on the way, and they're going to be even better, longer, and more useful.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. Keep listening, keep improving, and remember, you're learning more than you think just by being here.
Take care, everyone.
And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.